This is a reminder that nothing I say in this video is advice. It's not investment, financial, legal, tax advice. Really, no one should do anything based on anything that I say in these videos ever. They're purely for entertainment. All right. I had so much fun last time. I'm actually doing this one sober. I got just a LaCroix. And to answer a question that I got, I'm reading these for the first time with you. I'm clicking the ones that look interesting, and if they end up being terrible, I'm editing them out and you'll never see them. But I'm reading them at the same time you are. So let's jump in. How much is really needed for retirement? Rethinking percentages and money needed. I'm doing this as an exercise. It's new year and I've been going over all my finances. I recently got married and we've been working on plans for the future. We are currently saving up to buy a house and putting my wife through 2 years of dental school. We got to discussing about retirement and how much income we would need in retirement. I have a steady job and a good salary. Okay, so he puts away 12%, gets a 6% match, matches the HSA, and gets pretty close to matching. It sounds like a one IRA. Saving a pretty good amount. I mean, that's probably 20 plus percent. Ran some numbers, and even if I had not saved any money currently, I would need to put away $8,500 into a retirement account for the next 35 years, assuming 5% rate of return in order to have an income $65K a year for 20 years in retirement. All right, let's assume that your numbers are right, and I'm not going to take the time to double check them here. I don't think you've accounted for inflation. $65,000 a year for 20 years, 35 years from now is not going to be very much. It's basically subsistence level. It's not going to be a lot of income. My thought process is that if I cut down my 401k to just 6%, I'm putting 19K. Okay, you're putting 19K in. How much do you make? You make 4 times 12, 48 before you do all that saving. Yeah, I mean, saving $19,000 in retirement accounts is still probably pretty good. Yeah, I mean, you're probably okay to reduce your savings rate a little bit, but I wouldn't target $8,500 a year. That's probably not even close to what you think it's going to be. Investing. Oh, this is a good one. Vanguard recommends investors increase non-US holdings to 40%. Thoughts? I feel like back in the day, Vanguard said you don't even need international because US companies are global. All right, so it looks like this first guy got it right. So Jack Bogle, the Vanguard guy, he is on the record as saying he doesn't think U.S. investors need non-U.S. holdings. I think he's wrong. It's kind of weird to me that the ultimate indexer somehow thinks that doesn't apply to national exposures. However, if you're looking historically, U.S. markets, U.S. companies, there's a lot of systemic reasons that you'd expect them to do better. This makes perfect sense that they would change their recommendation. Is a much more standard kind of academic argument would be that you should hold something like what the global portfolio looks like. So makes sense that you would do that. Most people are at like 10, 15, 20%. Very few people are that allocated to foreign stocks. Fixed up my budget. Now I want to invest. That's good. You did it right. Hello, got my paycheck a couple days ago and I sorted out my expenses. I'm thinking I'll want to split my savings so half will go into investments, most of it into an index fund, around 5% of it into crypto. Sorry, just laugh. Tips on what brokerages are good for small investors. This guy's answer is correct. I'll scroll down for you. Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab, E-Trade, and TDA are probably fine too. Is it difficult to do your own taxes? I'm a 19-year-old college student and have a part-time job. Is it hard for me to do my own taxes? No, it's very easy. You should learn. New car or dental work? Yeah, new cars are terrible investments. Dental work seems like a great investment. What to do about parents that don't take their debt seriously? Before I read it, maybe mind your own business, but I'll read it. Some background info. They owe $300,000 on a mortgage for what's been over 10 years now. Yeah, that's normal. Normal mortgages are 30 years long. Have 5 figures in debt. What is that? Like credit card debt? They juggle through credit cards to avoid interest as stated about. Okay, so he's not even paying interest on it. I'm no financial expert. You're right. But that sounds like they're holding off making payments on the cards for as long as they can. Yeah, that's normal. I'm the oldest. How old are you? With two younger brothers and the only one who lives independently. I started college late, live alone, and do just fine. My tuition is paid for. I drop subtle questions here and there about the financial situation. Why don't you just leave him alone, man? Why do you care? My mom refuses to work unless she's working something she absolutely enjoys. Okay, what's wrong with that? And my dad refuses to accept better opportunities because he likes being comfortable. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with that either. Along with this, my mom has always been very curious about my money. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, maybe. She asks how much you saved, how much things cost. She thinks you're rich. Your two youngest are in college now. Yeah, that's good. Well, I mean, I don't see anything that says that they're not. Why do you think they're not taking things seriously? Um, you should let them handle their own business. It sounds like they don't want your help. 20 years old, insurance payout due to an accident. I'll be getting a $10,000 check, and you're in school. Yeah, you should just keep the money for expenses or use it instead of loans. 401k fund switch. I have 401k invested in a target date fund, but now I have enough to place my money in Vanguard 500 S&P. Should I make the switch? Well, you didn't really give enough information to give you an answer, but the S&P 500 is one asset class. It's large cap US stocks. Target date fund has all the asset classes. So are you asking if the S&P 500 is better than all the asset classes? Because the answer is maybe. You should probably just stay where you are unless the target date fund is like super expensive. But even then, you shouldn't have 100% of it in the S&P 500. Parents asked to borrow money for a down payment. Not sure if it's a good idea. After years of trying to convince my parents to downsize and move to a smaller place, they're finally taking some active steps. Problem is, my entire life they've mishandled and poorly managed their money. No savings whatsoever. They may be in a situation where, after their house sells, they need to put a down payment on a new place. They asked if you would front them $15K. Huh. That's a very interesting question. Um, they should be able to. They should be able to get a contingency for the sale, so that it doesn't end up happening. Where they sell their place first and then get 90 days to close on the new place. And then the risk would all be on them. If it fell through, they'd have to move into a temporary place and then move again. That's a tough one. If it's most of your savings, you're definitely taking some risk. You're going to think twice about it. I don't know if I would do it. Taking stock of my situation, new job, and avoiding lifestyle creep. In November, I got a new job. My income went up from $40,000 to $57,000 a year. That's smart. Or you're trying to justify moving to a more expensive apartment. Are you avoiding lifestyle creep, or are you trying to have lifestyle creep? I work in Manhattan, okay, and live in New Jersey. Yep. $1,000 a month. Blah, blah, blah. Don't have any student or credit card debt. Nice job. My take home is $1,400. Yeah, okay. Currently have a decent chunk of savings. Nice job. Would like to move into an apartment. Yeah, that's not too unreasonable. Yeah, I'd probably upgrade the apartment. That's not that big of a. It's when you live in a really expensive housing market like New York City or California or something like that. You're just not going to be able to hit all of the ratios that people always talk about. Roth IRA allocation review. I love it. I have an additional Roth IRA where I'm contributing since last year. I just wanted to review the funds. I'm 31 and won't touch the money until I turn 60. I have a Roth. Yeah, okay, Schwab, they're good. Yep. Portfolio had 5% cash, but good job. You moved it out of the best performing asset class last year and into one of the worst. That's what you get for hating cash. Here's the allocation I'm doing. 50% large cap. You went half S&P 500, half dividend equity ETF. Interesting move. SWSSX, that's a Russell 2000 fund. You got a mid cap fund. And then you got a lot of emerging markets. Having that be was 40% of your international when it like makes up 5% by market cap or something. But it looks fine. It's all fine. Just interesting choices. Going to be very, very volatile. I think you might be underestimating exactly how volatile this is going to be. But drowning in debt and only going to get worse. Yeah, maybe with that attitude. I made the biggest mistake of my life last year. I got a loan from Bank of America for an $11,000 car. They gave you $8,000, so you paid with a credit card. My cousin works for Uber. Okay, so you did some math. Okay, you didn't realize that insurance was expensive. That's a good lesson to learn. Uber is only making you at most $120 a week. Okay, well, the phrasing there is kind of problematic. You're only earning $120 a week working for Uber. It's not Uber making you only. You're making it sound like Uber is the one being lazy here. I regret getting the car. Okay, sell it. I regret leaving my old job. Can you go back? Your parents pay for classes. Yeah. You should sell the car and go back to the old job and sort your things out. A good financial vehicle that is safe, allows money to be kept liquid, and good with monthly contributions. I am shooting to buy a house sometime next year and saving for a down payment. $40,000. What should I do? Yeah, the only real answer here is a money market fund, or a savings account. It's basically a money market fund. People get confused and they expect this to yield a lot. Right now they're yielding like 2%, so that's all you can expect from it. But easy. I have a state savings plan from my previous job. Should I roll it into my 401k or an IRA? If it's a good 401k plan, you can just roll it into the 401k. Then you won't have to figure out how you're going to do it, because it sounds like you don't know how to manage an investment portfolio yourself. But with the IRA, you can invest it however you want. So, yeah, that's what you should consider. Trying to see if retirement thoughts are on track. High income earner, high spending, significant other. Ooh, juicy. Estimate our spending right now is $170K a year. This doesn't include home purchase improvements, moving expenses, or kids' tuition. Ideally, would like to get our spending down to $100K or less, but I've given up on trying to get my wife there. She's not frugal and doesn't care to be. Wow. You're going to do some 1099 work. Are you a doctor? What are you? New employer won't allow me to contribute to the new 401k plan until 2020. Yeah, that's probably normal if you're brand new there. They will allow you to save $56K. You must be a doctor, right? I would love to cut back on my side work. Yep. I think you're probably right. Backdoor Roth, that makes sense. HSA, yep. 529, that's good. Hope to save $30,000. That's very reasonable. Hoping to get to 4.5 million in the next 20 years. We've been behind the 8 ball. A reasonable reason. Yep. Yep, tuition's expensive. Yeah, man. I mean, what was even the question? If retirement thoughts are on track, you sort of got to run the numbers. Um, you're actually thinking about all the right things about, hey, what's our spending? What's it going to be in retirement? Because you're not always going to have two kids, knock on wood, to take care of. But I mean, you do need to save a lot, and it sort of depends. Let's see, you wanna retire in 20 years, and you want to have 4.5 million, and you have 240 plus 30. Oh, I gotta scroll down to show you that. You have 240 plus 30 plus 40 that's invested. So you've only got like 300. And then it's not clear how much you're going to be able to save because we don't know how much you're making. Yeah, you just got to run the numbers. And then I don't know if that 4.5 million number is good or not. But yeah, you're gonna have to look at that pretty closely. Make sure you're getting where you want to go, and make sure your wife knows she could spend a lot for the next 20 years, or she could spend a lot for the rest. But it doesn't sound like for both. Benefits of a high yield savings account versus money market. I'm looking to find a place to start putting money. I have a traditional savings account, but I'm thinking of moving a lot of it to a higher yielding account. Yeah. Oh, I agree with this guy. No real difference. Um, a bank account's got FDIC insurance. Money market fund is not technically going to be FDIC insured, but they're so safe it doesn't really make a difference. Should we invest this money? My husband, 32, is working as an independent contractor. He'll be paid $15K. It's a side job and he has a stable regular job. I'm employed as well. Also stable. My husband wants to invest the money he receives back into the business with an annual payout of an agreed percentage of the profits. Why not take the risk? You would rather take the lump sum, pay down student debt, and put the rest in the savings. You have significant student loan debt. What are the rates on the student loans? That matters. We are making ends meet with our two incomes and would like to start paying off the student loans more aggressively. Yeah, I mean, I don't think either choice is wrong. If it's possible that this reinvesting in the side gig would end up being really lucrative, and that might end up getting rid of your student loans faster. It sounds like you two have just a little bit of a difference of how much risk you're willing to take with this job and this money. Yeah, the higher the rate on the student loans, if they're like 7 or 8%, I would lean me towards those. But if they're 4 or 5% student loans, and putting money back into that side gig is gonna make a big difference for what he earns in the next year for it. It's hard to argue either way. Annuities for tax sheltering reasons. Wouldn't an annuity be a good thing for someone that only has passive income and has money sitting in a bank where all the interest gets taxed? Aren't annuities sheltered from taxes? All I ever hear is how bad annuities are and expensive with fees, but is there any time when an annuity can be good? Yeah. So usually, because of the costs, fees of an annuity, they're just always going to be bad, and it doesn't matter that you get some tax deferral. The other thing is that the gain in an annuity is all going to be ordinary income when you eventually pay it, and it's never going to go away. You don't get a step up in cost basis, even if you hold it until you die and you leave it to your kids. That's going to get taxed. If you invest in stocks, you're only getting taxed at capital gains rates, which are probably about half, and you do get that step up in basis eventually. You're right that if it's just sitting in a bank, then it's ordinary income either way, but the costs are just going to eat up the difference there. So Theoretically, the tax shelter effect could be nice, but in practice, I've never seen an annuity where you would expect the costs, the frictions of the annuity to be less than the benefits from any tax shield that you get. And the tax shield might not even, if you're investing in an annuity that's tied to some kind of equity return. A lot of annuities do something like what the market does, then definitely you're going to be hurting yourself with the taxes on the time when you actually pay, because you're paying a higher rate. So you got to do a break even and figure out if you're even benefiting there. How to deal with unfair wages at work. I've been with my company for 4 years now. Came to find that one of your employees is making more than you. You should never bring up being paid less than someone. I mean, I don't know that he's wrong strategically. It's probably probably borderline illegal for him to say, but I don't know. Told you could discuss it in February, but you were told that you would not make what they're making. Well, you can tell them what you want to make, and then if they don't give it to you, you can find another job. Or you can go look now and get an offer and bring that to your review and say, here's another offer. I'm going to take this if you don't give me what I want. But you kind of have to prove it. Ooh, how do I go about firing my financial, quote, advisor, unquote, and move everything over somewhere else? I can tell you how to do this. I wanted to do some research about exactly what I was gifted. Result, pure shafting. I'm 21. I was gifted a brokerage account. The account was with Wells Fargo. Sorry. There's an advisor associated with the account. Yep. Money is invested in 2 funds. I'm not familiar with those. Both are Wells Fargo mutual funds. And they have front-loaded fees. They're very expensive. 48K invested. This wasn't meant for retirement. It's a nest egg. I'm not sure you know what those words mean. A down payment for a house in the future. I'm very grateful. Maybe you're right, and this guy is just robbing grandpa. Or maybe there's more information that you don't know. It sounds like it's super expensive. It does sound good. But it's really easy to move the funds. You just open accounts somewhere else and you fill out the account movement paperwork, and they'll be able to move it. Schwab, Fidelity, Vanguard, wherever you want to move it to. You just open an account that's titled the same way, and then you fill out the paperwork to move the money, and then it will move. You don't have to tell Wells Fargo about it, assuming that you own the account. It's just very, very easy. Grandpa might be pretty pissed that you did it without talking to him, so I think pretty closely about that. But just call up Granddad. It's probably been too long since you called him anyway, and tell him, hey, I'm thinking about moving this. I want to manage it myself. What do you think? And if he actually gifted it to you, he doesn't really have a choice, but he probably wants you to make decisions with it anyway. So just tell him that's what you're going to do, and if he wants to talk to you about the advisor, you can. Best way to track personal property value and monthly net worth calculations. All right, I'm going to have to stop after this one. At the end of every month, I sit down and tabulate in Excel all my assets and liabilities purely out of curiosity. All right, good for you. Tricky part is how to track personal property value. You shouldn't even try, man. Vehicles are easy. You're like going and updating the KBB of your car every month. Okay. Smaller purchases become more tedious to track. Yeah. Since not including them will show as a drop in net worth after I purchase them, and that's not correct in your mind. You should probably think about it like that. An engagement ring, yeah, it should drop your net worth. It really should, because you're not going to be able to spend it. Yeah, you should just stop. That doesn't sound like a healthy thing to track.